a lot of like magical things were just like happening. And I was so in that vibe, in that frequency of like, I was just living in magic. It was great. Hey guys, welcome back to the Divinely Human podcast. Thank you so much for being here. Today, I wanted to talk about my personal experiences with angels. Angels are what brought me into the spirituality world. I love them. They're happy. I feel like everybody can generally agree that we like angels. A lot of people believe in angels. Not don't have to do much convincing on behalf of angels. Angel numbers are super popular in the world right now, but I do have some like really cool experiences to share that make them seem super real, and hopefully that makes you like feel comforted. I also would like to bring on my angel reader really soon in the future and kind of want to touch our toes into the world of angels before we have her on, because I would love for her to be able to answer questions for you guys that you have. They could be questions to like angels in general, or questions to her like maybe about how she communicates with angels or how she got to that point, because she didn't always have that gift. So yeah, if you have anything you want me to ask her for you, leave that in the comments below or DM me on Instagram. My Instagram handle should be up in one of these corners right here. So angels, guys. Angels are an entire class of being on their own. I mean, the meaning of angel is messenger of God, right? So angels were made for, I think, for humans. I don't know if angels go to other planets. I have no idea. Oh my gosh, that's something I want to know. I got to figure that out. So angels exist in the 12th dimension. We are here in the third, moving to the fifth, so we're pretty far away. That's why it's always very cool to be able to connect to an angel, because you have to get your frequency so high, and they do come down to meet with you, because there's no way we could get up to 12. When I first started experiencing like all like my clairaudient things that were happening to me, I was hearing things, I was getting like downloads in my head. I was hearing my music was all weird and warped. I was getting told to go to church, and I like didn't really know what was going on. I was watching a lot of near-death experiences, like I talked about before, and that put me on the subject of angels and guardian angels. And I learned that every one of us has a guardian angel that's been with us literally since we were born in all of our lives. So it's been with you for a long time. I was like, oh, it must be my guardian angel trying to reach out to me. I was honestly really attached to that. And, that makes you feel good. That just sounds a lot better than, oh, there's a ghost following you around trying to tell you things. So I was determined to find out who my guardian angel was, to find out their name, and to find out what the heck they wanted to tell me. The first disappointment is a lot of angels don't even have names, nor do they care about having a name, and that's like kind of a human thing. We like to give everything a name. So if you are watching this like, oh, I wonder who my guardian angel is, you literally can call them whatever you want, and they are so obsessed with you and love you so much, they don't care, okay? They really don't care. You could sit down and meditate and ask for a name. The first name that pops in your head, just take it. That's the one. That's the name that it is. I just kind of want to go over some experiences that I've had with angels before we get into the legit technical angel talk with our angel girl. Okay, so let's get into the angel stories. This is going to be kind of just like a chatty, like a girl chat. Okay, it's just a girl chat. So I was so hooked on finding out my guardian angel's name, right? I needed to know. I was in a frenzy. I was frustrated. I was trying to meditate. Nothing was coming through. I didn't even know what coming through meant, honestly. Was I supposed to see words in my head? Am I supposed to hear a voice in my ear? I didn't know. I remember being so distraught. I kept hearing things, and I just wanted to know the freaking message, Is that too much to ask? So I'm sitting in my room out loud just saying, just tell me your name. Like, what is your name? I'm saying this out loud to nothing, to the wall, okay? And my phone rings once, like a butt dial rang, you know, like somebody called and was like, oops, and then hung up. And I looked at the phone and it was a name. The name was Michelle. I was like, oh, that was weird. Just like the timing was weird. And the Michelle that called me is someone who's never called me or texted me before. It's more like an old coworker. I hadn't seen them in years. It's kind of like you just have your coworkers' numbers for like emergencies or whatever. So, and I couldn't rationalize a reason why that person would butt dial me. So I was like, you know, skeptical, but like hopeful because of the timing and how it felt. I felt like it was like for me, like, would you stop yelling, please? When like my phone rang. So I was like, well, maybe my angel's name is Michelle. So after I got that, I booked an angel reading. So I don't even know how I came across her. Her name is Rebecca. She does all of my angel readings for me. I love her so much. I booked a reading with her. The soonest date I could get happened to be when I was out of town. So I live in California, but I was going to be in Texas. So I'm at this hotel in Texas attending these lectures, whatever, and I had a break in between, and that's when my call was booked. So I go back to my hotel room and get on this Zoom call with Rebecca. And like before I really understood how Spirit Land worked, I just didn't get it. I'm like, how can it work over Zoom? How can you be so far and see my angels? You know, I didn't get it. Now I understand that time and space don't exist, and like let's say Archangel Michael, he could be with 4 million people at the same time. So it really doesn't matter. I get it now. I didn't get it then. So I get on this call with her. I'm open but skeptical. Okay. First of all, she like delivered messages from my dad, which is really beautiful because he passed away a couple years ago, and they were pretty dang spot on. So I was like, oh, okay, she's legit, got it. And then I told her about like the phone situation. I didn't say the name, but and I asked her if she could like hear what my angel's name was. And she had told me, she didn't give me a full name, but she said, I think it starts with an M, like she was hearing an M word. And the name that I had gotten was Michelle. So I'm like, holy crap, are they really listening to everything I say? Like they're really there. And I'm just like, feel like I'm alone, but now I know I'm not alone. So that was really nice. I at least think it's really comforting to figure out that you're not by yourself. Like you really aren't. Then she told me that I'll know my angels are with me if I see feathers. And I was like, okay. Like, I don't know, feathers outdoors are not everywhere, but kind of everywhere, right? Because birds, you know? So I was just like, okay, like I'm stuck in a hotel for 5 days. Like I probably won't see a feather for a hot minute. But I took that as a cool, got it. And like we had the rest of the reading. Angels really relay beautiful messages. Angels are only love and light, you guys. There is no yuckiness, ickiness from angels. Nothing. They'll never tell you anything sad. They're always like trying to uplift you. It's really beautiful. And they've never been human, okay? An angel has never incarnated as a human. So like they don't really know anything sucky. We just know stuff that's sucky. They can impersonate a human. There's lots of stories actually of Archangel Michael like appearing as a human to somebody. FYI, he supposedly lives in Mount Shasta. And I'm going there next month and I'm really excited. So my reading is done with Rebecca. It was beautiful. It was mind-blowing. It was only 30 minutes, which I thought was an appropriate amount of time. And when that 30 minutes is over, you wish you had 6 more 30 minutes, you know? Like I could listen to her forever, like relay messages to me. But the call was over. My mind is like kind of blown because I'm like just realizing that spirit world is real. Like I didn't know until then. And I was like pestering my coworkers about things that were happening to me, and then I'm like, oh my god, you guys, there's angels everywhere. I'm just turning into a crazy person, and I fully realize that I could seem crazy to a lot of you, and I do. Until something happens to you, you'll absolutely probably think I'm crazy, and that's fine. But I get off this call, and then I have to like go back to like lectures and stuff, right? I open the door of my hotel room, and outside of my room on the floor are 3 black feathers on the ground on this giant hotel in Dallas. Okay. So I just like start crying, like it felt like really emotional and just like, holy shit, like there's literally an angel hanging out with me all the time that's like listening to me. And then you, once you get over the shock, you're kind of like, oh, I have this like imaginary friend like when I was a kid. I'm also convinced that a lot of imaginary friends are real, and we just kind of made the term imaginary friends, and then kids think they're fake, but they're not really fake. So that was like, that was amazing. And I actually saw black feathers that whole weekend. Even in like that hotel had a lazy river like at their pool outside. There were like black feathers floating with me everywhere. I don't know what that was about. I love that the feathers were black. I'm such like a moody tone girl, and I love that it wasn't just like pure white feathers, like maybe she's a really cool edgy angel. I don't know. But that was my first experience that was validated. So I got the name Michelle myself. The lady that talks to angels said it's a name with an M. Then she tells me they'll send you feathers, and instantly there are feathers. When like I've absolutely never seen a feather in a hotel ever in my life except for then. So it's just like another thing I couldn't rationalize away, Can't like your ego mind like can't talk you out of it. Like did I see that? Did that actually happen? Which is very common with spiritual experiences, that people will experience something and then talk themselves out of it because they've never believed that before and they feel kind of cuckoo, which is absolutely what I do all the time with this next experience I'm going to tell you about. So after I got home from that conference, a lot of like magical things were just like happening. And I was so in that vibe, in that frequency of like, I was just living in magic. It was great. I can remember I was cleaning my house because people were going to come over, and like a ball rolled out onto my foot from under my piano in my living room. And I just like laughed. I'm like, they're just like playing with me now, I was picking stuff up, and my kids had like a ton of squishmallows on the floor, those like squishy pillows that look like an animal. So I'm like arranging them, and one of them just like picks itself up. I don't know. It was just really fun. I was like, okay, well, now I feel like really safe, and I feel like angels are my friend, and I have people with me looking over me, and that's awesome. Another thing that happened that week was I remember being upstairs in my bathroom, like getting ready, and I just got this thought in my head. I was like, you need to lock the doors. And then I remember I called down my husband. I'm like, hey, like, will you make sure all the doors are locked? I don't know why. I just feel like they should be. And then like 5 minutes later, there's like a helicopter in our neighborhood, like speaking over the megaphone, like, hey, there's somebody out, yada yada, like a dangerous person. So I'm like feeling so in tune and so on the path. I'm like, whoa, I have these supernatural buddies looking out for me. This is awesome. And like, spoiler alert, everybody does. What the heck? And it wasn't until I was open to acknowledging that they were there that I was able to receive like guidance from them, So that was really cool. But then that stuff started slowing down, and maybe like a week or so passed with like nothing mystical happening to me. And I couldn't stand for that. Once it starts happening, you're addicted. It's like it's truly like a rush because it's like you live in Harry Potter. Like, who doesn't want to live in Harry Potter, you know? So I remember being just really frustrated about not having any like cool angel experiences in the past few days. And I'm laying in bed and I'm just thinking like, please show me a sign that you're with me. Like, show me a sign, show me a sign, show me a sign. Like over and over, just like when I was asking for the name, I was like, in my head, I'm like, okay, well, when I pester them, they answer. I can annoy them enough to where they'll make something cool happen. So I'm saying over and over, show me a sign, show me a sign. Now it's like dark and it's nighttime. In the corner of my bedroom, a huge burst of light just out of thin air. It looked like it wasn't even just light, it was more like sparks. Think of like an OG like blacksmith who just put some iron in the fire and he's hammering it, like that spark. That's what it looked like an amber spark, or like sparklers on 4th of July, but like a huge one in the corner of my room. And I was like, it just shut me up, you know? It was like, hey, chill out. We're here, okay? They're probably like, it takes a lot of energy for us to do this on your low ass dimension of Earth. Okay. They're like, we are here. Would you calm down? So that one, I honestly still to this day, I'm like, did I make that up? But I know I didn't, because it was so like, it like took my breath away. Like I was taken aback by it. So that was a really cool experience I had with angels. Something else that happened, I'll tell you another story. Okay. Driving home, my whole family's in the car. I think I'm in the back seat. Yeah. So my husband is driving and it's me and our 2 littlest kids in the back seat. And it's dark. We stop at a gas station and like my husband gets out to pump the gas. Obviously, I don't mean obviously like because he's a boy he's pumping the gas. I mean because he is the driver, he's pumping the gas. Or obviously we went to a gas station to get gas. That's what I mean. But I see like a man that's like walking up to the car and he's like shady looking, you know. Don't judge people, but don't, you know, get jumped either. You know what I'm saying? I just had a bad feeling about the guy. I don't know. And I can't hear because I'm in the car. So he's like walks up to my husband and he's like talking to him. And I'm sitting in the back of the kids and I close my eyes and I ask for Archangel Michael to watch over us and protect us from this man, like if we need it, right? And I'm not saying this out loud, I'm just saying it in my head. So I'm just sitting there in between my 2 kids in the back seat of the car that's turned off because we're getting gas. And then my kids are like, Mom, tapping me. They're like, what are you doing? And I said, I'm like, oh, I'm asking for angels to protect us. And they pointed to the light above my head, that, you know, the light in the back seat of a car, because it was like flickering on and off, like while my eyes were closed. It's funny because if the kids weren't there, I wouldn't have known that happened. That to me was like validation, like, oh, he showed up. Like I asked for him and he showed up. And Archangel Michael is like the protector. He's like the angel of war. He's pretty dope. He's definitely the protection angel if you ever need. He is on the blue wavelength of light, just in case you're wondering. But that was also like a really cool validation of spiritual experience, because it's one thing to have something happen in meditation or you get a feeling or you hear things in your head, and it's another thing to see it with your physical eyes. That's a whole different ballgame, because we tend to not second guess our physical senses like we do our psychic senses, you know? I think that's all I have for like personal experiences with angels. Maybe you guys see like angel numbers a lot, and that's really beautiful. They absolutely have meanings. Like each one has their own meaning. I don't think it's that serious. I think your angels and your guides are more letting you know that you're on the right path and you're on track. Another thing is, if you do see an angel number, try and focus on what you were thinking about when you saw it, because it could be a sign of like yes, like that's a good idea, or yes, you should do that. It could also be like that's how they're communicating with you. I guess just know that you're never by yourself. You're always surrounded, you're always protected. You always have people that love you around you. I know I said the word people, but it's not people. You have guides, you have angels, you have ancestors that are with you all the time. So just take comfort in that. Talk to them. Every time I get on a call with Rebecca, and I will absolutely link her information down below. She's amazing. She says that she actually says with anybody, whenever she does readings for anybody, their angels are so excited to be able to talk to them and finally they're listening to me. And that kind of made me feel bad when I found that out. I'm like, oh, they've been with me for 30 whatever years and I've never talked to them before. How rude. So I've had my kiddos start talking to their angels and just know that you're not by yourself and absolutely talk out loud and sound crazy because, my angel's opinion is more important to me than that stranger over there that thinks I'm a kook, I don't really care. I hope that any of those stories give you a little bit of comfort, maybe a little bit of validation. If you've been feeling like there's spirit or beings around you, there are, and they're safe and they love you and everything is fine. But that's all I have for my personal stories. Rebecca will be on the podcast soon. If you have anything you want me to ask her, leave it below. Send me a DM on Instagram. But besides that, I will see you guys next week. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.